evening. Good evening to district dignitaries, Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. We are here to learn something from the speakers, isn't it? Anyone who stops learning is old. Whether this happens at 20 or at 80, anyone who keeps on learning not only remains young, but becomes constantly more valuable, was told by Sir Henry Ford. I am Chetan Shah, your Chief Sergeant at Arms on day 4 for DTAC 2022-23 Semifinals B for Evaluation Speech Contest. Let me brief you about today's proceedings. Shortly from now, you will witness keynote address by Dr. Kevin Snyder. He will speak on how to become a professional speaker and the impact of changes on leadership. Thereafter, you will witness impeccable, incredible, and outstanding evaluation speech contest. After that, we will get to know the results of the contest. Are you all ready? Please be informed that today's meeting is only on Zoom. Let me tell you a short story. A man was walking with his favorite horse on the mountain top. Suddenly, the horse falls into a deep precipice. He can't pull out the horse, no matter how hard he tries. He therefore decides to bury the horse alive. As and when the soil was poured from the above, the horse keeps shaking himself and he climbs above the soil. By seeing this, the man was happy and continued pouring the soil as fast as possible. By afternoon, the horse came out and galloped the happy man all around the mountain. Friends, step above the problem and you will be out of it with your continuous efforts. Now, let's proceed ahead. The mission of Toastmasters clubs is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The mission of District 105 is we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. Now, for the smooth conduct of this virtual contest, some rules to be respected. Please keep all the noise-making devices switched off or on silent mode. Please keep your audio and video switched off while the speeches are in progress, as this may disturb the contestants. Only the chief judge, contest chair, and the contestants will have their videos on all the time. Kindly don't forget to applaud the speakers with your beautiful emojis through your reaction button tabs. Speakers are requested to refrain from speaking about 3 taboo topics, that is sex, politics, and religion. Finally, now let me introduce our Master of Ceremonies, who is an entrepreneur residing in Oman from last 30+ years. His company is specialized in water pipeline construction and maintenance. He is a father of beautiful daughter and handsome son working in India and is highly passionate Toastmaster from 2004. To take the segment further into the contest, Please help me welcome with virtual round of applause our Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Saji Joseph.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chetan Shah, for a wonderful introduction and helping me build the extra confidence. You have touched my heart. And I must say that you have made my day. You have not only helped me build additional energy, it has created the much needed positive vibe and also set the tone for a successful meeting. Thank you. District dignitaries, fellow Toastmasters, friends, and guests. Assalamu alaikum. Blessed evening. Greetings to everyone who is here or present globally with us to witness the mega event of annual speech contest, propelling progress, impossible without change. District 105, DTAC 2023. DTAC 2023 is a bilingual speech contest in Arabic and English for humorous, evaluation, table topics, and international speech categories. Our DTAC 2023 theme propelling progress has already been covered several times. The mind-blowing tales have had a significant impact on our lives. There were speeches with loads of educative and informative content that propelled us to enliven and transform our lives, to live, to lead, to guide. We have imbibed convictions to live with hope and optimism of becoming better speakers and leaders. And after all, great human beings by executing effective and illustrative acts of service leadership. Once the momentum is gathered, we gain the right attitude. It is very easy to have the power to propel and then to progress. I came to know about Toastmasters in the year 2004, and it is reminded, once a Toastmaster is Toastmaster forever, and therefore started actively participating in Toastmaster sessions since 2011. During that period of time, my heart was touched by the then officers of our local club, ABC Toastmasters Club, where my mentor spotted me. I use the word spotted. I use and borrow the word spotted, which is written in the book of 8th Habit by Dr. Stephen R. Covey. My mentor has motivated me to be a better speaker and a service leader. And since then, there are a number of Toastmasters. They must be watching now, performing today as the role of Master of Ceremonies at DTAC level. And since then, I recall every Toastmasters leaders who has been there consistently motivating and supporting. For the one and only reason that if a Toastmasters objective is to promote self-improvement. And we are constantly reminded throughout every Toastmasters sessions. The real target was to achieve a committed and a continuous development to earn and own the much needed self-confidence. The realization was that only through sustainable development, personal growth can be achieved. Finding out the communication style was crucial, as was the establishment of an effective leadership style. The command over language is a must and was mandatory that would make communication easy and the so-called peace possible, as once the legendary Ralph J. Smedley had rightly envisioned. I made it possible. Toastmasters International helped me to make it possible. Traveling to United States of America, United Kingdom, Austria, China. All that happened, only I have changed my attitude. I have made up my mind to improve the communication skills. Thank you, TMI. And today, I'm so happy to be here as your Master of Ceremonies for DTAC 2023. My life has changed after joining Toastmasters. Change is inevitable. However hard that may be, it is inevitable and we benefit from this change. The events lined up for this evening is an invigorating keynote address, followed by the evaluation speech contest semi-final Group B. Let us now get ready for the keynote address. Let me introduce a dedicated Toastmaster to invite our keynote speaker onto the screen. I'm sure this evening is definitely going to be enjoyable and memorable, as we will witness the most stimulating keynote speech. To introduce the keynote speaker, we have a passionate Toastmaster since year 2020, President of Acers and Pacers Toastmasters Club, Area 19 PR Manager, District 105 PR member. This gentleman is a District Toastmasters Annual Convention team member for the last 3 years consecutively. Marathon, ultra trail runner, cyclist, and fitness enthusiast. An engineer by profession, he runs his own IT and engineering company. Let us invite Toastmaster Vinesh Matthew with a huge round of applause. Toastmaster Vinesh, the screen is all yours. Toastmaster Vinesh Matthew.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Saji Joseph, for your marvelous introduction. Let me introduce our keynote speaker today. Dr. Kevin Snyder is the only Toastmaster in the world who earned the accredited speaker designation in 2022 through Toastmasters International. He's also recently received the Certified Speaking Professional Credential, one of the highest honors among us, the professional speakers. Dr. Kevin is not a natural speaker or motivated person. As a teenager, he struggled through depression and even being arrested. Deciding to use his past experiences to help others, he started his career working on college campuses and presenting small workshops to students. As his speaking improved, he felt a calling to share his message of inspiration and leadership to as many audiences as possible. Since his first presentation nearly 20 years ago, Kevin now speaks full-time and has presented motivational leadership keynotes and programs for over 1 million people and 1,000 organizations throughout the world. Kevin is the author of several best-selling books, holds a doctorate degree in leadership, and is a multi-TEDx speaker and sailboat captain. He lives in the United States with his family. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, please warmly welcome Dr. Kevin Snyder to District 105 DTAC 2022. Over to you.
Thank you, Vinesh. Can we give Vinesh a round of applause? Louder. Yes. Such an honor for me to be with you. Thank you to District 105, the planning committee, for inviting me. Such a tremendous honor to be with you from half a world away here in the United States. You know, what a beautiful world right? And our world, it's got its challenges, but here we are together today. And I know where many of you are. Well, I wish I could be with you in person, maybe next year, right? Maybe next year. But let me show you where I am, across the pond, as they say, in specifically North Carolina in the United States. Now, by show of hands, have any of you been to the United States? I'm just curious. Anyone been to the United States? Or put in the chat if you'd like. You are all welcome. Good, excellent. I see many, many people with their hands raised. Great. And I want to welcome everybody on Zoom. Also want to recognize we've got people watching on YouTube as well. So whether you're watching live or you are watching on the recording of this, what matters most is that we are here together in some fame or fashion. But what is amazing, as was introduced in the opening remarks, there's so much that you and I have in common. Yes? Right? If we, in Toastmasters, we give great feedback on speeches. And there's certainly, with every single speech, there's always room for improvement. And I've never given a speech that was perfect. Every single time I speak, there's always things I can improve for the better. So when we're looking for ways to improve, we'll find them, right? If we're looking for problems, we will find them. And today, I want us to focus on what we have in common, right? And that we are all part of the solution to make this world a better place. Yes? I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old son right now. And every single day, I remind myself my purpose for them is to model behavior. What type of life and what type of world do I want them to live in? And I'm guided by that every single day. And what I love about Toastmasters, thank you so much again to the planning committee. We would not be here together. You would not be here today if it weren't for Toastmasters. And I believe Toastmasters is one of the ways that we make this world and leave this world a better place. Would you agree? I hope so, right? So as I was preparing remarks for you today, I was thinking of ways, what value can I bring? How can I share insights with you that will help affirm what you already know? And also maybe challenge some new ways of thinking so that we can all progress in our pursuits. And I don't know if any of you are soccer, or let me say football. We call it soccer, but you might probably call it football. I don't know if any of you are football fans, but there's some goals that I want to share with you where we're going to go today in my short presentation. Number one, I do want to discuss the accredited speaker program with you just for a few moments, because many Toastmasters aren't aware of the accredited speaker program. And I wasn't until someone mentioned it to me. So I do want to mention that, and we'll be able to ask some questions about that. I want to share with you also some insights about professional speaking, at least here in the United States, and how I've been able to grow a speaking business that I absolutely love. I also want to share with you some insights on peak performance, which are going to help you propel progress. And towards the end of this presentation, and really throughout, if you have a question, post it in the chat if you'd like, even during my presentation. But we'll have a dedicated time after the presentation is over where you can ask me any questions that you want. So be thinking of what questions you might have. And also, if any of you would like to get a copy of this presentation slide deck, I'm going to send it to you. Okay? So that's kind of where we're going to go today. That is our outline. Does that sound good? I hope so. So let's first talk about the accredited speaker program. Now, last year I was honored to have earned the accredited speaker designation, and it is the reason I'm in front of you today. I mean, check this out. I am honored to have presented for so many amazing districts throughout the world because of the accredited speaker designation. And this is just a byproduct. This isn't the reason that I pursued the accredited speaker. But a lot of districts, when they're hosting events just like yours today, well, it's a great way to do a presentation for these other districts. So I'm on a world tour here, and it's only possible because of the accredited speaker designation. So let me share with you what the accredited speaker designation is. Well, what it does is it simply recognizes speakers who have already reached a professional level status in their careers. And specifically, some of the criteria, the eligibility: 25 speaking engagements within a 3-year period of time. Payment for 15 of those 25 engagements. A 20 to 60 minute video presentation that you'll submit. And then recommendations from 5 of those speeches that you've given. So this is the eligibility. And I don't know how, some of you might be thinking, not interested, and that's fine. We're not going to talk about it too much longer. But for those of you that might be interested or are intrigued with the accredited speaker designation, that is your lighthouse. That is your North Star to kind of follow. And you can go to the website of Toastmasters to find more information about the handbook. I also have a website for you that you can download and watch other videos where I've interviewed other accredited speakers, the co-chairs of the accredited speaker program, giving recommendations and insights that aren't necessarily in the handbook, and other resources there for you as well. So I'm curious, maybe raise your hand or post in the chat. Is there anyone, I'm just curious to get a sense of how many people might be interested in an accredited speaker. Anybody? Okay, I've got a few. Good. And this year, the registration or the deadline is already passed, but it likely will be in January of 2024, where you'll have to submit by that deadline date. So you've got plenty of time to work on and build up some professional speeches and get that application ready. And I'm happy for any of you that have your hand raised right now. I'm happy to help you in any way I can, to be a mentor for you. They have mentors. All the accredited speakers will likely agree to help in any way. Just let me know how I can help if you want to reach out to me. Sound good? All right. So look, I think your theme, propelling progress, this is an amazing theme. This is so important, not just, as Saji mentioned, not just within Toastmasters, but in life, right? Progress is the difference between where we are and where we want to be. Meaning, your destination, your goals, anything that you want to see differently in your life, well, here's where you are. Here's where you will be. So in order to achieve and fill that gap, well, there must be some sort of progress, right? It makes sense, but I think sometimes, I know I do, I lose sight of the distance in between because it can be tough. It's not easy. And it's impossible without making change, which change can be very difficult. So here is an example. I want to ask you a question. When you think of making progress, a lot of people think it's just, right? You just take action over again a few times and then you should achieve it, right? Well, progress can be very challenging. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of obstacles that can get in the way. So for those of you that are looking at this screen, I want you to ask yourself, what does that progress arrow actually look like? What do you think? Draw it for me. For those of you with your video on, and by the way, as Toastmasters, we know what it's like to present in front of a video camera. How about a gallery view of blank screens? So I encourage and welcome any of you to turn your video on, because we know what it's like, right? So I encourage any of you to do that. But for those of you that have your video on, show me real quick, what do you think that success arrow actually looks like? Yeah, Jamil, look at Jamil's screen. He's exactly right. Yeah, Deepa, what about you? Show me that. Show it to me. What do you right? Everybody's kind of doing this. Yeah, if you're sitting next to people, just don't hit the person, right? But that is so, again, I'm not sharing with you anything yet you don't already know. But it's not what we know, it's what we apply. And when it matters most is when it's most needed. Because this success arrow is not fun. To achieve success, to achieve progress, there are many times where we doubt ourselves or we get frustrated and it's easy to give up. And I can't tell you how many times I've been working with a speaker that wants to speak professionally or at least get started in speaking, and they're already about to quit and they're so close. There's a phrase that I say, they might be just 2 feet from gold. And then they stop digging. So just that persistence is key. Believing in ourselves is key. I'm going to ask you another question, because you already know the answer to this. Think about your proudest accomplishment in your life. What is something in your life that you feel extremely proud about? Right? Think about this just for a moment. Now what I want you to ask yourself is this: why is what you identified? Why is one of your proudest accomplishments so important to you? And some of you might be thinking of your family. You might be thinking of your career or something that you achieved when you were younger, or maybe your current business. But for any of you, think of this. Why is this so important to you? Well, was it easy and overnight? In all my audiences, when I ask this question, I've never had someone raise their hand and say, yes, my proudest accomplishment was something easy and overnight. It's the opposite. Our proudest accomplishments are the things that we had to work incredibly hard for. So the things we care most about are also going to be the things we work the hardest for. So today I want to make progress. We're going to have to expect the squigglies, as I say, the squiggly lines, and they're not fun. But what makes us great leaders, what makes us achieve our goals and make progress, is being able to have resilience and a mindset for success that helps us move forward. Because catch this, where is that arrow actually pointed? That success arrow. It's pointed up and forward. Think about that. It's pointed up and forward. And like an arrow, if you were to pull an arrow back, there are times in life where we feel like we're being held back, or maybe we've taken 2 steps back. But what's happening is we're about to be launched into something great, as long as that arrow is pointed in the right direction. So as speakers, you probably have heard this joke that there's no great speech on leadership without an iceberg image. So here's your iceberg. But it's true that people only see what's on top. They don't see what's underneath, which is the far vast majority of making progress. What people don't see. The time that we have together today, you have maybe 30 to 45 minutes with me. I proudly and was happy. I've invested hours just into this short presentation, in preparing it, talking with your planning team. So you only see this, but hours have gone into this. And you're no different with your speeches, with your leadership. And so what we want, the reason I'm sharing with you today is we just need to remind ourselves of this sometimes, because this is also the bottom, what's underneath is why this floats, why this iceberg floats. Does this make sense? Right? So the squiggly lines is truly how we make progress. And let me share with you a squiggly line that a lot of people don't know within Toastmasters. Is the first time that I applied for the accredited speaker designation, I did not receive it. I was denied. And there's a whole story behind that. So maybe you ask me why at the Q&A, okay? But it was humbling. I was already speaking professionally. In fact, I've already spoken for over 1,000 organizations by that point. But I got denied by Toastmasters, and it was a good thing for me because it taught me a lesson that I had kind of forgotten. So I have squigglies still consistently. And that's why when I saw this theme, propelling progress, I thought, wow, you can't have progress without making change, right? So let's talk a little bit about this today. In the short time that I've got with you, I'm going to share with you some insights from a keynote that I typically deliver to organizations titled Becoming a Shift Thinker. You have to say that real carefully. Shift thinker. And I've customized it for you all because there's 4 elements that we'll focus on today. Okay, 4 quick elements. And you can see them here. So this is the direction of the content. And these are principles, my friends. These are principles that can be applied not just within Toastmasters, not just with our speeches or our club leadership, but also in our careers, in our personal goals, and also in our relationships. Okay? So let's start with the first one, a growth mindset. In your mind or out loud, say that with me. Growth mindset. Do you feel a growth mindset is essential for your success? Yes or yes? Yes, of course it is. And here's why. A growth mindset is the source. Everything begins with what we think and what we believe, because that's going to impact whether we take action and how we take action. Our actions are going to impact our results. Our results ultimately become our performance. And it's cyclical. So a growth mindset is absolutely essential, but it's difficult to have a growth mindset when maybe circumstances are not ideal. Would you agree with that? I mean, one of the things that I discovered amidst the pandemic, I'm an in-person presenter, if you can't tell. I do the best I can virtually. I strive to bring the in-person experience virtually. But I did not even have a Zoom account prior to the pandemic. I did not have this studio. I had no clue what I was doing. But I made a choice because speaking is my business. I knew I had to grow through that adversity. I had no choice because to provide for my family, and I'd worked so hard in my speaking business, I couldn't let that just go away because it was a learning curve. As mentioned in the amazing opening remarks, so much of Toastmasters provides us a safe place for a learning curve to get better in our leadership and get better in our speaking. Right? What makes us feel a little uncomfortable simply just might be a learning curve. And that's what I had to push myself through. So this seed right here, this is a metaphor. This seed found itself in circumstances that were not ideal, right? I mean, have you ever felt this way? The environment around you was maybe negative or it just had a lot of adversity. Well, does that mean that you still can't grow through it? No, of course not. You can still grow through that. In fact, adversity, you just got to push through it. So this is an acronym, stands for, I encourage you to write this down if you like it, persist until something happens. So to push through adversity, it's not easy. I'm not suggesting it's easy, but what I'm suggesting is it's required. So adversity does not define you. It actually refines you and it provides opportunities that you might not have had otherwise. So as it relates to my virtual studio, now speakers hire me to coach them on how to create their virtual studio. I mean, it's actually become a new spoke on my wheel for how I help speakers, and I absolutely love it, but it was not fun at the beginning. When the environment is ideal, when circumstances seem to be ideal, right? This looks a little better. Well, it's a little easier. It might seem a little easier to grow, but catch this. When it's easy, don't a lot more people do it? So your mindset, your growth mindset is your competitive advantage. Because when it's easy, there's a lot more people doing it. When it's difficult is when a lot of people quit, which is why you should not. So does growth mindset make sense? Why it's important? I hope so. I hope so. So let's talk a little bit about, we know why it's important, but let's talk about, what it is for a moment. Well, a fixed mindset, the opposite of a growth mindset, a fixed mindset easily gets frustrated. They resist change. They're content with the status quo, and they focus on mistakes. Does that sound like a fixed mindset? Right? Somebody with a fixed mindset, that sounds kind of like how they view things. Well, a growth mindset is resilient, embraces change, continually wants to improve, and also focuses on lessons earned. Think about that, lessons earned. The only mistakes are the ones we don't learn from. I've made a ton of mistakes. I make mistakes in every speech. I've already made a few mistakes in this presentation. All I can do is learn from them for the future. And that's what makes me a better presenter, hopefully. And you and I are no different. You and I have got so much in common. So how do we develop a growth mindset? Well, number one, we have to ask ourselves the right questions. Does that make sense? Meaning, if you ask yourself a negative thought, or if you ask yourself a negative question, you'll come up with a negative answer. Your brain is a supercomputer. Ask yourself a positive question, your brain will come up with a positive answer. And here's some ways or some sample questions I ask myself amidst adversity constantly. Number one is, what can I learn from this experience? Number two, how does this experience make me better? Number three, hey, where can I share this experience so I can actually help someone else? Now, in the midst of adversity, these might be difficult questions to answer, but when I reflect on them, do you see how there's positive solutions that my mind comes up with, even amidst making a mistake? And that's the power of having a growth mindset. Now, here's some other ways. Ask yourself positive questions, but also surround yourself with positive people. Look at your Toastmasters clubs. Look at this conference. Surround yourself with positive mindsets and other like-minded people. And then also realize you have the power to change the station in your mind with your thinking. And it's not easy. I'm not suggesting it's just easy switch, but let me share with you this. When I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with depression. I'm not a natural speaker. I'm not a naturally motivated person. I struggled with depression when I was just 12 years old. I was diagnosed with it. And my counselor, one of my turning points that helped me, she asked me, Kevin, what will you do if a song comes on the radio that you don't like? So think about this. A song comes on the radio that you don't like. What are you going to do? What do you think? Deepa, what are you going to do? Right? You're going to change the station, right?
Change the channel, yes.
Yeah, you're going to change the station. So my counselor was trying to help me realize, Kevin, just because you have a negative thought, just like the radio, it doesn't mean you need to keep listening to it. Think about that. And at just 13 years old, at that time, I didn't realize I did not understand that. But repetition's the mother of skill. How we get good at anything is what we practice. And our mindset, I would suggest, our mindset is a muscle that we have to constantly work on to get better at. Because it is easy, and we are conditioned, I feel, to think negative. It's easy. It takes no skill set to think negative, to find problems. It takes a skill set and a mindset, though, to find solutions. Would you agree? And that's why this is difficult. This is not easy. And one of the songs that came on the radio, I don't know if you know this song. Can you hear it? Any Don't Stop Believin' fans? I don't know if you know this song. But the song that came on the radio that day when my mom and I got in the car to drive away from the counseling session was Don't Stop Believing. I mean, don't stop believing. And the challenge is, what I've discovered over the years, when I work one-on-one with somebody, and also when I talk at a lot of organizations, they've got individuals, and there are individuals that focus on their doubts. You know, they believe their doubts and they doubt their beliefs. And then they wonder why maybe they're not fulfilled or happy or maybe tapping into their full potential. So our belief systems in ourselves and what we can accomplish is absolutely crucial. And that's why a growth mindset is so important, to believe in ourselves. Because when our belief, this is one of my favorite quotes, so I'd encourage you to write this down if this is resonating with you. But when your belief system is greater than your adversity, you are unstoppable. And how we develop the growth mindset, I've shared with you some principles, and there's a lot more to it if we had more time. But a growth mindset is key, but also we have to choose to think differently. Look at this quote. Our thinking is the problem until we discover how to make it the solution. Our mind's the fertile soil. Our thoughts are the seeds. What we plant will grow. So in order to propel progress, we don't necessarily just have to have a growth mindset and, hey, things all change. No, now we're going to have to also think differently, because we cannot solve new problems with old ways of thinking. New problems require new solutions. And if any of you would like to get a free copy of my book, all you have to do is scan this QR code. It's a free download on my website. Or you can, if you don't know what a QR code is, that's fine. If you don't know what a QR code, that's fine. But you can just go to my website, kevincsnyder.com. And this will also be in the slide deck that you all will receive at the end of this presentation. So you'll have access to get a free copy of my book, Think Differently. And I also released a TEDx talk where I talked more about think differently, because it requires us some pure vulnerability as well. And if you want to watch my TEDx, so I don't know if there's TEDx talks in your areas, but I highly encourage you to consider also how to speak on the TEDx stage, because that's a great opportunity to have a message that you practice at your Toastmasters clubs that has a great idea worth sharing, and then spread it further beyond Toastmasters on the TEDx stage. And my TEDx speech, my first TEDx speech, helped launch my professional speaking. So if you have any questions about TEDx, I'd be happy to help with you, but we can also have some Q&A for that as well. So here is an activity I'd encourage you all to do. The objective here is to connect all 9 dots with 4 straight lines. So if you're with me, write these 9 dots on a piece of paper or somewhere right near you, or you can try this on the screen, okay? The objective is connect all 9 dots with 4 straight lines. And you cannot take your finger off the screen. Or if you're on paper, can't take your finger off the paper. Give this a try. Connect all 9 dots. All right, anybody get it? Priya says done. So Priya, you got it. How did you do this, Priya? Type in the chat if you don't mind, or you can take yourself off mute. How'd you do this? Oh, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Could you see my paper? Is this the answer?
Yes. I cannot see it. Hold it up a little bit more for me.
I'm not able to see my camera, so hold on.
What did you have to do? Just tell, in case we can't see it, tell us what you did. You had to do what?
I just did this. Is that right?
1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you have 5 lines, so you're close. If we did it in 4 lines, yeah, okay. If we did it in 4 lines, let me show folks how this. Thank you. Let's give Priya. I appreciate that. Thank you, Priya. if we start, in fact, let me show you how this works. 4 lines all connected. We go up, we go down, we go over, and then across. Now, you might feel this is a little elementary, but the concept is this. We were able to achieve the objective when we thought outside the box. By thinking differently, we were able to achieve the objective. And that's the whole point. We were pushing through a comfort zone. You've got a comfort zone. I've got a comfort zone. When we push ourselves outside of our comfort zones, not only are we often able to achieve the objective, but we're successful. It's no different than skydiving. I don't know if any of you have ever been skydiving. Any skydivers? If you've ever been skydiving, it takes a lot of courage to jump out of a perfectly good plane, right? And you're strapped to somebody that you likely do not know. But right here is my first jump. I'm terrified. In fact, I'm yelling at him right here. No, stop. I don't want to go. Well, this is exactly me jumping out of my comfort zone, or at least being pushed out of my comfort zone. And already right here, this has now become one of the most exciting and exhilarating experiences I've ever had. And like any of you who have been skydiving, I mean, do I look excited right here? Yeah. And I landed. I'm here with you. And if any of you have been skydiving, you landed as well. And what do you think most people want to do when they land? What do you think they want to do? What do you think? Think about it. They want to do it again, right? Most people, not everybody. But that's what skydiving can teach us, is how to think differently about fear. Think differently that, hey, maybe fear is a good thing, right? How can fear push me and challenge me to possibly do something I've never done before? Because all it is false evidence appearing real. It doesn't even exist except within our mind. And as we look at your theme, propelling progress, it is so perfect. It aligns with this message because, look, we can change without growth, but we cannot grow without having change. So change is part of the success formula to achieve growth and make progress. Look, your theme is absolutely perfect. We just have to be willing to be pushed. Maybe we need to push somebody else. And like skydiving, we'll be glad that we did. Now, Darwin also has a quote. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones responsive to change. Well, as Toastmasters, where leaders are made, it's not just being responsive to change. I would suggest it's a little different, a little bit more intentional. We have to be responsible for change. Would you agree with that? We have to be responsible for change. We can't just wait for change to happen. We have to be responsible for change. So my time is short with you. I'm already seeing the green. All right. We'll do some Q&A in a moment. Let me speed through these last 2 principles for us to talk about why a shift thinker is so important to propel progress. If you look at the people here on this screen, look at these individuals. Did they make progress? Did they have some challenges in their life? Of course. I mean, they had a growth mindset. They thought differently, but they envisioned new opportunity. They envisioned the no, as I say. And no is another acronym. It stands for new opportunity. So when you hear a no from somebody else, somebody says that you can't do something, or that you get rejected by something, it doesn't work out the way you thought. Well, that no could just be a new opportunity with the right mindset. So let's talk about a few of these folks real quick. Malala Yousafzai, youngest winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. If you know her story, likely you do, she was shot in the head because she was advocating for young women to have a right to education in Pakistan. Martin Luther King, a civil rights leader in our country, in the United States, he did not have a goal. He had a dream, and a dream that he knew likely would not manifest in his lifetime. J.K. Rowling, she wrote Anybody know what book she wrote? Harry Potter, right? And she was on the equivalent of what we call welfare, a struggling single mom. Yet she still wrote the best-selling book of all time. And then one of my favorite examples is the story of Roger Bannister. In 1954, he broke the 4-minute mile. He was the first person to ever do it. Every single person said it was impossible. He could not do it. And then he did accomplish this. And when Roger Bannister accomplished this, guess what he showed other people? He showed people it was possible. And since 1954, do you think other people have been able to break the 4-minute mile now? Yes. Because they saw that it was possible. And I think that's so important for us. It doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter our level of speaking experience. It doesn't matter what club leadership position you might have or in the district. I mean, a position is an expectation to lead. But we can lead without having a title. We can lead without having a position. And we all have the opportunity to be better at whatever we want to be better at. But we're going to have a growth mindset, to think differently, and then also envision the no. But there's one thing that we also still need. There's a missing piece to becoming a shift thinker, yes? What do you think that missing piece is? Because these first three, growth mindset, think differently, and envision new opportunity, guess what? They're all mental. They're all up here. They're internal. Success does not begin from circumstance. It begins from within. So what's the missing piece, my friends? Subia, yes. Look at the chat. Yes. Grav, yes. Thank you. The missing piece is action. And here's why I believe action is so important. You know, action as well is an acronym, because action stands for let me get to it here. Sorry. Here we go. Sorry. Action stands for action changes things. In your mind or out loud, say it. Action changes things. Because we can't just think our way to progress. We can't think our way to success, whatever that might be, however we define that. Even if we vision something strongly in our mind, until we take action, it's simply a daydream. So I hope my content with you today affirms and reminds you what you know about how to make change, how to make progress, how to improve in any aspect of your life. Will it be easy? No. Will it be worth it? I think so, if you believe in it. Now, in just a moment, we'll take some Q&A. I also have a couple slides, if we have time, to share with you just some professional speaking tips, or I can include those in the Q&A, because I believe there's a couple questions about that. But if you receive my slide deck, then you'll get all the public speaking tips that are already in the slides. We just may not have time to get to them. So if you'd like to get a copy of this slide deck, you simply do this. You can either scan the QR code or put the address in there, the website, talk.ac/Kevin Snyder. In fact, I'll even put that in the chat. So it's talk.ac/Kevin Snyder. And then enter code D105. And that's just your code. That gives you the slide deck and also some bonuses of some content about professional speaking that I likely won't have time to get into. So why don't we do this? Let's take maybe a couple questions, and then we'll see what questions that we get, if that's all right, Vanish. And then if we have time for me to share some public speaking slides, I'll do that. Or some professional speaking slides. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yes.
Hope so. Okay. Are there any questions from the audience about maybe accredited speaker or about some of the leadership content that I shared? Ooh, I like that. Okay. What are some tips for speaking on the TEDx stage? Okay. So my friends, TEDx and TED are two of the same, but TEDx are your local independent events. And that's where most people start. So to speak on the TEDx stage, what you really need is a great idea. And again, your Toastmaster speech, it could be the seed for that. Think about what is something, whether it's an experience that you have in your life, what did it teach you? What discovery did you come with that experience that might be unique? Think about that. So what in Ted's motto is ideas worth sharing, or technically it's ideas worth spreading, but they need to change that motto. Nobody wants to spread anything anymore, right? So ideas worth sharing, but they're going to ask you, what is your idea? And how you get on the TEDx stage is you apply. Sometimes the events, they hand select their speakers, but usually there's a call for speakers where, and I have a whole TEDx training on this. You'll if you get the slide deck, you'll get a copy of it, or how to access it. But I truly believe if you work on your TEDx speech and it's focused on an idea that is unique, or maybe you've got some research that you've collected and you want to share it, that's a great TEDx talk. But a TEDx talk is not a professional speech. Those types of talk, TEDx talks are up to 18 minutes, which doesn't mean you need to go the full 18 minutes, but you have a limit up to 18 minutes. And they're not, you don't get paid for TEDx talks, but they can be a great marketing and great exposure opportunity for you to share a message. My TEDx talk called Pure Vulnerability, where I talk openly about my depression, because I wanted to reveal it. I wanted more people to know about how I got through my depression and how I got through learning from my arrest and some other things when I was younger. I wanted people to know. But it wasn't my typical talk that I would give in a professional setting for my business in speaking. So thank you. The eligibility for TEDx, every event is different. So look at TEDx events that are around you. Go to TEDx.com and you can search for TEDx events around you. Some of them, like I mentioned, they have a call for speakers, and just submit the application, right? And reach out to me if I can help. Because I've been a TEDx speaker for a couple events. I've coached dozens of speakers on TEDx, and I've actually planned an entire TEDx event myself. So I wear a couple different hats as it relates to TEDx. All right, so that's a lot to unpack. That could alone be a whole session on TEDx speaking. But look at the TEDx events around you. If they have a theme in mind, that might guide you a little bit too. But how you get selected is you have to apply and look at the application process. Okay, I see Deepa asks, what would you have done differently in my first accredited speaker application? So the accredited speaker application has got two phases to it. It has the eligibility requirements that you have to document, that you've got the 25 professional speeches, 15 of those were paid. You submit your video with some recommendations. That's about it, roughly. That's level one. So if you check level one, then you get invited to level two, which is presenting at the international convention. And that's what I was invited to last year. And last year I was shocked. When I showed up, I thought there would be many speakers there. And I was the only person in the world. I thought, what? But in 2020, I made and sometimes I do this. I even made some changes to this presentation last minute. And sometimes I trust my gut when I do that. And other times, well, what I did is I made some changes. I made it more of a Toastmasters speech. The day of, I made some last minute changes that I should not have made. And the accredited speaker program it's not giving Toastmasters talks, it's giving professional talks. So when I gave a more Toastmasters talk in less of a professional speech, let's just say that was not a smart move. And that was the main reason that I did not earn it. I thought it would be clever for me to do it that way, but no, it was a mistake. And I look back and yeah, but it was virtual as well. I had not been speaking virtually much. And I think that was part of the reason as well. I just felt uncomfortable. And I believe I also went over time. So like to anyone competing in the contest, do not go over time. All that effort gets you DQ'd, right? Don't do that. All right, keep the questions coming. I see a few more. Some suggestions. Will AI, oh, okay. Jamnada asked, will AI help AS? No, it won't. And well, here's why. I mean, like ChatGPT and other AI platforms, they can help you with maybe researching content or, finding out what are some common challenges in certain industries that you might want to look into, but they can't write a speech because, it could possibly write a speech, but who's going to deliver that speech? And the greatest speakers are the greatest storytellers. So AI can't write a story for you that's personal. You have to write that story. So can it help you? Yeah, as a supplement. But it can't write your speech to a way that you can deliver it. That's where I feel like writing your own content, having an outline for it is very helpful. So, all right, what are some tips and suggestions to help club members present great speeches? Well, some tips and suggestions to help club members is focus on your story. Think of a story, and you probably have multiple stories that you can share, but the story has to have a point. And the point of the story must also be relevant for whoever's listening to it, right? So the relevancy makes it a call to action. So think of it this way, PSA. In any speech, I believe there should be a point, there should be a story, and a call to action. Because that call to action is what is going to make that relevant for the audience listening. And then I also have another additional process with this. I call it my 3 E's, the 3 E's. Number one, I want to educate my audience. I want to share content. That's what they're hiring me for. But I also have to be engaging. I've done my best I can with you all today. It's tough being virtual, but you got to be engaging. You got to be able to ask questions and get people involved. Because otherwise it's just a one-way conversation. And then the 3rd E is empowering. So engaging, educational, and empowering. And the empowering is the call to action is, well, how do I want to empower my audience to do something with this content? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So how to download my book, Think Differently, just go to kevincSnyder.com. You'll also get, if you want to get the slide deck, you'll have a link to that as well here. But if you can also go to kevincSnyder.com and you can download it automatically. But I would encourage you to get the slide deck because it's got some links to it directly. How does someone sell themselves as a speaker worth paying for? How to build that portfolio? Okay, great question. Man, I wish we had some time to dive into professional speaking, or more time. Here's the essence of that question answered right here. What problem do you want to help solve? I have, in all my years of speaking, I look back, and especially now so more than ever, when organizations hire me to come in and do a keynote speech or a training program for them, or if an association asks me to speak at an annual meeting or a conference, they always are asking me to come in and deliver a program that will help those attendees in some way. So I would encourage you to watch my convention speech because I talk about this. The greatest speakers are the greatest storytellers. But as it relates to professional speaking, you can't just be a storyteller. You have to be a problem solver. So how does that story help that audience solve a problem? See the difference? So I can still be a storyteller in my professional speeches. 70% of my content is storytelling. But how do those stories carry a point that's relevant for that audience that will help them solve a problem that they're dealing with? I mean, are there a lot of problems in the workplace? Yeah. Are there a lot of problems? Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. So how does that presentation help them as it relates to some of the challenges that they're facing in their organization? And once you position yourself as a speaker and that because you're the messenger. So you're not, I'm not the product of my business. I'm the messenger of the product. The product is the speech. And that's the essence of paid to speak, is how to really how to outline a great speech so that it carries that problem. And in module 2 of the book, the paid to speak is based in 5 modules, and module 2 walks you through how to do that. All right. So I'm looking at one more thing I'd encourage you to do. And this is in the slide deck too. This is in the slide deck. But if any of you if you're interested in professional speaking, I've got a checklist here. I call it the Speaking Business Checklist. And it's a quiz that you can complete. And what it'll do, this goes directly to a blog where I write about it. And you can download this and you can take the checklist or take the quiz, and it'll kind of let you know what you have that's great to pursue professional speaking, and also what might be some things that are missing that you need to think about. So I would encourage you to maybe take a look at that. It's paidtospeak.biz, but that QR code goes right to the blog that I wrote. Or email me about that. I can send it to you. But look, when I first started speaking, I didn't know what I was doing. There weren't nearly the types of resources that were out there that there are now. And one of the best things I first did was I reached out to a mentor who was doing what I wanted to do. And he was nice enough to coach me, to mentor me. So that was amazing. I'm happy to help any of you. Just reach out. So if you want to do what I'm doing, reach out. And frankly, and when I first started speaking as well, I was working full time in my job on a college campus, and I started speaking for fun on the side. And repetition is the mother of skill. I got better and better and better at it over time. Toastmasters helped me as well, but it didn't happen overnight. In fact, the first time I ever got paid to speak was when they asked me what my fee was. So I was like, whoa. And it cost me more money. My flight cost more money than what they paid me, but I still did it because I just loved and I believed in what I was doing. And a few years later, I was getting paid more money speaking than I was in my job. And that's when I made a choice to resign and create my own business in speaking. So my book, Paid to Speak, kind of, like I said, walks you through all how to do that. All right. Good. I'm looking at the chat. There's some folks that are saying they want to do professional speaking, accredited speaker. That's great. Where do I see myself in 5 years? Working less, charging more. I want to spend more time with my kids. I tell my wife, she has her own business as well. And I say, honey, I'm 46 years old, about to turn 47. And I've not worked this hard in my life to work harder. I want to be more strategic. I want to focus on collaborations. I also want to travel globally. That's one of the things that I hope accredited speaker can help me with, to help me visit countries and speak all over the world. I want to speak globally, and I want to be able to take my family with me. So, but it's, speaking that's another question I got. What do I wish I would have done differently? Or what are some things that some common challenges newer speakers have? This is not easy. It's not. And especially at the very beginning, it might seem the most challenging, which is why a lot of people quit. But you get to a point where when your speech really is now refined and you're out there presenting it and speaking, people see it and then they start inviting you to speak. So it's less work that you have to outreach. And it's nice when people reach out to you to speak because they've heard about you. So I think, what I should have told myself at the very beginning was like, you got to have passion, but it's going to be a lot of work. And even though it's a lot of work, it still doesn't mean it can't be fun. So have fun, focus on how you help people, your purpose, and maybe someday we'll meet on the big stage at the International Speech Contest or accredited speaker. Thank you all so much. I see the red, so that means we're done, right? Jamil, thank you. Deepa, thank you. Saji and Vanish, the whole planning committee. Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully you found some value today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kevin, for those valuable tips to become a professional speaker. But most importantly, how to preserve the essence of true leadership in face of challenging challenges. We hope to imbibe these learnings as we propel our way towards excellence. On behalf of District 105 Toastmasters, kindly accept our heartfelt thanks and a certificate of appreciation. Thank you so much, Dr. Kevin. Back to you, Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Saji Joseph.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Vinish Matthew. And thank you, Toastmaster Kevin, for an eye-opening keynote that every one of us are in need to understand and follow. We all are having this fear. False evidence feel real. Yes, this is the fear actually pulls us back from what we want to achieve in life. I am really charged today. I want to be an accredited speaker. I will do an action plan. We are truly blessed today. Next up is our DTAC 2023 Evaluation Speech Contest Semi-Final Group B. To take the proceedings further adeptly, we have this contest chair. He is a faculty member at the University of Technology and Applied Sciences, Al Musanna, Sultanate of Oman. He is a postgraduate in English language and earned a Cambridge certification in teaching English to adults. He has been a Toastmaster since 2017 and has held various positions in different clubs, including president and VP. He has got the experience serving as the contest chair and master of ceremonies in many Toastmasters contests in Oman. Besides, he is an ardent lover of badminton games and enjoys all sports activities too. Let us welcome today's contest chair, Toastmaster Vinod Kumar, with a huge round of applause. Toastmaster Vinod Kumar.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Saji Joseph, the Master of Ceremony, for the lovely introduction. District Director, District Program Quality Directors, District Club Growth Directors, Division Directors, Area Directors, dignitaries and fellow Toastmasters and guests. A hearty good evening to everyone. It's an honor to be your contest chair for the District 105 DTAC Speech Evaluation Contest Semi-Final Group B. It's a fact that Toastmasters International has been a beacon of inspiration, empowering individuals to develop their communication and leadership skills in a supportive and nurturing environment. The evaluation contest exemplifies the heart and soul of this organization, as it showcases the power of constructive feedback and the transformative impact it can have on our personal and professional growth. Dear all, tonight we witness the culmination of countless hours of practice, determination, and dedication from our remarkable contestants. These talented individuals have honed their evaluation skills, mastering the art of delivering insightful feedback that inspires improvement and builds confidence in the speaker. Unequivocally, they represent the embodiment of Toastmasters' core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Now back to business. Our chief judge today is distinguished Toastmaster Tom Suriak. May I have him on the screen, please? So please switch on the video.
Yeah, I've switched on the video.
Okay. Everyone, please join me in welcoming the judges and the chief judge. Please have a big round of applause through that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before we commence the contest, please allow me to state the rules for this contest for the sake of the audience. The contestants have already been briefed about the rules of the contest. The contest shall begin with a test speech of 5 to 7 minutes by a test speaker. The rooms will be locked after the test speaker finishes the speech. Contestants may make their notes on a white paper as the test speaker is delivering the speech. After the test speech is completed, all contestants will be escorted by the Surgeon at Arms team to the breakout room and given 5 minutes to write their notes. Timer 1 will accompany the contestants and time the 5 minutes duration in the breakout room. The contestants should keep their video and microphone on during the entire duration while they are in the breakout room. The speech evaluation will be for 3 minutes. The timing signals shall be as follows. The green light will be turned on after 2 minutes and shall remain on. The yellow light will be turned on after 2 minutes and 30 seconds and shall remain on. The red light will be turned on after 3 minutes and will remain on till the presentation is completed. There will be no indication given to the contestant if he or she exceeds the time limit. A contestant will be disqualified if the speech is less than 1 minute, 30 seconds or more than 3 minutes, 30 seconds. There will be 1 minute of silence after each contestant for the judges to complete the ballots. During the 1 minute silence period, we have an innovative way to engage you this time. We'll be sharing a storyline with you in 8 different slides during the 1 minute silence, wherein the story will progressively continue until the moral of the story at the very end. And in case you missed out on any slide, during the 3 minute silence, we will show these slides again so that you can engage in the story continuously. Get ready to view something new in DTAC 2023 this time. Now let's tell me about the technical glitches and other directives. If the test speaker loses connection, we will allow 2 minutes for the speaker to come back. The test speaker picks up from the point where he or she left off. If he or she cannot come back in 2 minutes, we play a recorded video of the test speech. If a contestant loses connection, the connection before the completion of the test speech, he or she will be allowed to connect back and proceed with the contest. If the contestant loses connection while moving to and from the breakout room or during preparation time inside the breakout room, he or she has to forego the contest. If the contestant loses connection while delivering the evaluation, he or she cannot be allowed to reconnect, and the judges will mark their ballots based on what they have heard. Now, about the eligibility. To be eligible, a contestant must be a Toastmaster in good standing, in a club with good standing. Now, be a current district or international officer, nor have declared the intent to run for district or international office. As such, I hereby confirm that all contestants are eligible to compete. Now, let's meet our contestants. Please allow me to introduce the contestants in the speaking order as determined by the draw of lots. We have 8 contestants competing today. I'll announce the name of the contestants. Contestants, you all are requested to respond by switching on the camera and microphone and saying hello as your name is announced, please. Contestant number 1, Toastmaster Priya Shivakumar. Kindly come in.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you. Contestant number 2, Toastmaster Ravayan Suhaimat. Please come in.
Yes, hello, good evening,
Hello.
Toastmaster Vinod
Yeah,
and all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Context here. The contestant number 2 is using 2 devices. Please.
Okay.
Who?
Are you using 2 devices?
Me?
Yes.
No. No. I'm only connected to my computer.
We will check it.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Shall we move to number 3?
Yes.
Toastmaster Vinesh?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. So now contestant number 3, Toastmaster Jisha Uman.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. Contestant number 4, Toastmaster Devi Narayan.
Hello, good evening, Contestant.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. Contest number 5, Toastmaster Mudikesh Sukumar. Hello, Toastmaster.
Hi, hello, hi. Good evening to all.
Thank you. Thank you. Contest number 6, Toastmaster Agnik Bose.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, contest number 7, Toastmaster Melanie Miranda.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. Contest number 8, Toastmaster Shalini Bothella. Toastmaster Shalini.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, hello. Thank you. Dears, these are the eminent evaluation speech contestants, semi-final Group B. Please give a big round of applause for our contestants. So, Master, kindly capture this amazing moment. Are you done? Toastmaster Vinesh.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's now the time to begin the contest. I'm sure so masters and the timers are ready. Our contestants are ready. Dear audience, I'm sure you're geared up to witness an amazing contest. Chief Judge Toastmaster Tom Syriac, may I seek your permission to begin the contest?
Yes, please. We are good to go.
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Tom Surik, our Chief Judge. Allow me to introduce the test speaker of the day now. We are on to our business. Our test speaker is Toastmaster Arundhati Roy. The speech title is The Wall. The Wall, Toastmaster Arundhati Roy. Amburi Roy, sorry. That is Amburi Roy. You can come in, Toastmaster Amburi.
Wise people talk less. Have you heard of it? Most of the time, I choose to be silent.
Excuse me. I think you need to introduce the topic and, just like you do a speech. The contest chair, please restart.
Okay. But I was told not to do that after the speech. So that's what I didn't do. Yeah. Should I?
You have to give the topic, no?
Yeah, topic, The Wall. The speech title is The Wall.
Sorry.
I
missed that part, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Please. I'm sorry.
I said it. Yes.
I request a contest master to introduce me one more time, please.
I will restart, yeah.
Okay. I'll start again, no problem. Our test speaker is Toastmaster Amburi Roy, and her speech title is The Wall. The Wall, Toastmaster Amburi Roy. Please go ahead.
Wise people talk less. Have you heard of it? Most of the time, I choose to be silent. Not because I am wise, but because I have difficulty expressing myself clearly. What if I'm being judged or misunderstood or something else? I used to put up a big wall around me to protect my feelings. 5 years ago, in a pre-pandemic era, I took an early tea break on a tiring afternoon at office. In our cafeteria, on an open stage, I witnessed an event, an open house of a Toastmasters club. So I grabbed my tea and sat at the farthest corner. That tea break stretched for an hour or so. By the end of that event, I was influenced by the speakers, inspired by their speech, and introduced to the art of public speaking. A week later, I attended that Toastmasters Club meeting as a member. And after 2 weeks, I scheduled my first icebreaker speech. I wrote a speech, memorized it, practiced it for the countless time. I was pretty confident about it. Despite that intense practice, an hour before my speech, I was so agitated that I felt lightheaded. I tried to recall my speech, and my mind went empty. And I panicked, and I rushed to washroom, splashed water on my face, and looked in the mirror. And I could see my inability to speak in public reflected in my eyes. I could see the wall around me was rising higher and higher and higher every second. What would happen if I forward speech on stage? Everyone will laugh at me and I will be labeled as losers forever. Why did I join this vicious club? The negative thoughts swarmed in my head. So I devised a fail-proof plan. If I forget my lines, I will play faint. And if I faint, no one will force me to speak. So with a solid plan and vaguely remembered speech, I entered the meeting room. When Toastmasters of the day called my name, 1,000 butterflies danced in my stomach and my leg became so dry that my voice was barely audible. I saw people looking at me with hopeful eyes. This is a mistake. I will become a laughing stock forever. I looked with disappointment. And then I suddenly realized that my trembling leg wasn't actually visible. I attempted to say, hello, everyone, and somewhat my voice was audible. Without any thinking, I babbled about my hometown, my childhood, my school, my favorite sweet, my recent trip, whatnot. Finally, the timer signal read and I stopped talking. I have absolutely no memory what I said that day. But hey, I delivered my first speech. Isn't it something? Wait, oh my God, what on earth is happening? Suddenly I witnessed 20 people standing up, clapping, cheering. I received a standing ovation in my very first speech. Unbelievable. Am I influencer like Barack Obama? Am I brought to the world to change the fate of humanity? Am I the greatest of the great speaker known to this world? After a moment of glory, I discovered that it is customary to give a standing ovation after icebreaker speech. However, in those moments on stage, I felt no less than Barack Obama or Dalai Lama. Dear Toastmasters and distinguished guests, that day, 3 amazing things happened. 1, I acquired an incredible story to share with you all. 2, the thunderous applause ignited my public speaking passion. And 3, the wall of self-doubt that I built with utmost care to protect my feelings, my emotions, had finally crumbled, snapped, shattered, leaving me unburdened and ready to embrace the power of self-expression. Today, I stand before you, grateful and empowered. And through this transformation, I gained the ability to express myself without any fear of judgment, embrace my own journey of self-expression. So let's toast for this incredible, steady wall of self-doubt that is gone for good. Cheers and thank you.
You're muted, CC.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Amburi, for this brilliant and scintillating speech. So, may I now request the Zoom Master to kindly escort the contestants, Sergeant at Arms team, and the timer 1 to the breakout room.
Please send me also to the breakout room.
Okay, have they gone? Toastmaster Vinish?
They are in the breakout room.
Okay. Okay. So, Toastmaster Amburi, kindly accept your presentation certificate. Toastmaster Vinish, please present her test speaker certificate. Please accept the certificate, Toastmaster Amburi.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Toastmaster Vinish, have all moved to the breakout room?
Yes,
It's all in order. They're
Yes. Okay.
there, yeah.
So now, dear Toastmasters and guests, I would like to say something about our test speaker, Toastmaster Amburi Roy. She's currently residing in Berlin, Germany, and she hails from a small village in India. By profession, she works as a software developer. She is also an aspiring public speaker and has been associated with Toastmasters since 2019. Currently, she's a member of the Rainbow Toastmasters Club. During her term, she served as a president of Samsung Bangalore Toastmasters Club, which achieved the prestigious President Distinguished Club recognition. So she has got a lot of accolades to her credit. Now, let me have a chat with Toastmaster Amburi. So in your introduction, you're told that there is something special with Bengali biryani. So please say something about it. We all are curious to know what is special with Bengali biryani.
Well, in India, if you travel from north to south, every 100 kilometers, you will find the biryani in a new taste. So there is the flavor of Bengal, and there is a special way of cooking that biryani, and that is my favorite thing. I missed it a lot. And yeah, I'm a bit foodie. I love food.
What's special with those biryanis? Just for us to know, because these people may try it later.
Well,
what is special with that?
The specialty is the way it is cooked. The spices are not cooked with the rice. It's cooked in a way that the flavor is induced in the food, and also it have one egg and one whole potato in it. So that's the incredible thing about it.
How often do you have it?
In my childhood, my cousin and I always fought for that egg and whole potato. It's a childhood memory.
How often do you have it usually?
Well, every special occasion, whenever I am in Bengal, but nowadays it's become very nostalgic because I didn't get any chance often to have it here in Germany.
Okay. Anyway, thanks a lot for coming in and serving us with your fabulous speech. This is your participation in the test speech certificate.
Thank you.
Kindly
Thank you
accept
so
it.
much. Thank you so much for having me. It's a wonderful opportunity and I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
On the part of the organizers, I am expressing our thanks to you as well for delivering this speech and sharing this nice evening with us as well. Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Amburi.
Thank you.
I think she can leave now, right? MC?
So she should be there because when the evaluators come, she should be there. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. So anyway, we have how many minutes left, Toastmaster Vinesh, for us for the 5 minutes? Shall I show some questions, some funny questions,
Yeah, go ahead.
just to engage them?
Go ahead.
Okay. This is just for fun. Nothing special with it, but anyway, because you may be bored if you simply sit there and may feel like sleeping. So I just want to avoid it. But before that, this is a funny joke, and this was heard in one of the Indian Administrative Service interviews. It's an Indian story, and it's a famous tale in my state or my locality. So that's why I'm asking. It's quite a funny question. Just put the answers in the chat box, or we can come in and talk as well. So just a funny question. So I would expect a funny answer only. For example, what is this? If I ask showing this pen, you may say this is something which we need to write, or which we write, something like that. This is used to write. This is a straightforward answer. I don't want that. I want to check your creativity and how well you respond when this kind of funny questions arise. So this is my question. Anyone can, some of you might have heard that, but anyway, I don't care because it is quite told among our community there in Kerala. So this is my question. What's the meaning of knife? Anyone can come in and say. What's the meaning of knife? What's the meaning of knife? Any creative Toastmasters or anyone?
Maybe knife mispronounced.
Yes, this is a straight answer. But this is quite, acceptable. Yeah, of course. That's right. But I won't answer to my question. Even I know that knife is knife, and English language is, unphonetic sometimes. And it is K-N-I-F-E. It should be pronounced knife. I know that. Every child knows that. So what would be my answer? What's the meaning of knife? Anyone? Any creative Toastmasters? A sharp talker that is from Toastmaster Satish. No? Yeah, it is something sharp. Even a child knows that. King's Sweet. Can you just open your cameras or open your microphone and say? That would be better. That would sound better. And then putting in chat box, because you have the right to unmute, right? Anyone? It was asked for an Indian Administrative Service, IAS interview. Anyone? I can't wait for long, maybe for 10 seconds I wait, and I will give you the answer. Okay. It's time to wind up, so let me give you the answer. The answer was, I don't know, sir. That is what the person answered, the interviewee answered. I don't know. Okay, back to our business. Please go ahead, DT Vinesh. So the contestants are ready, right?
Yeah, the first contestant in the main room.
Okay. So our first contestant, it is time to start the contest. And here we go. Our first contestant is Toastmaster Priya Shivakumar. Are you there, Toastmaster Priya? Toastmaster Priya, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Please confirm The timer 1 and timer 2 screens are visible for you.
I can see the timer 2, but not the timer 1.
Timer 1. So, Toastmaster Vinesh?
Hold it again.
Okay.
I can see now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Toastmaster Priya, kindly repeat this statement. Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Hereby, I confirm that you're audible and visible. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is contestant number 1, Toastmaster Priya Shivakumar. Toastmaster Priya Shivakumar, contestant number 1. Please go ahead, Priya Shivakumar.
Thank you. Have you heard The Wall by Toastmaster Miss Amburi Roy? A well-crafted speech, meticulously delivered, has the power to touch your senses. It did for me. I saw Miss Roy using the 360-degree gestures in her speech. Right from starting with her wall, when she turned back to show the wall, to coming close and saying how the Toastmasters open house started, to her eyes rolling. The first thing we notice in a speaker is her face, and she used it to the best of her benefit. The second thing that I really liked about her speech is I felt the pauses. Pauses kind of form the frame to the canvas she's building. She knew exactly where to pause and when to pause. When she spoke about her inability to speak in public, there were the right pauses for the audience to sink in her fear. When she spoke about how her fear went higher and higher and higher, it did bring us that feeling. The third thing I really liked in her speech is the ability to use the title as her prop. So beautifully, when she started off talking, when the contest chair introduced the title, The Wall, I was wondering, what does the speaker have to say about the blank wall? But she engaged us from the beginning till the end as to how beautifully that empty wall was a beacon of her overcoming the fear for speaking. When I come to recommendations, I have 2 recommendations, and that's based on her conclusion. So any speech is like a hammock. It starts with the starting, the body, and the conclusion. She had a very good start, a very strong body, but in her conclusion, her call to action could have been more impactful, and she could have just used that wall as one prop. So, keeping in mind these 2, using just one prop as her prop through the speech, and having a much more impactful call to action, leaving the audience to linger in those thoughts. Keep up your pauses, keep up your 360-degree gestures, and keep up the use of a very good title. Toastmaster Ms. Roy, I have a final word for you. In the art of speech making, there is one thing you can remember. Seek it, nurture it, and strike again. Contest chair.
Please, everyone, give a big hand for her scintillating performance. Excellent job. Toastmaster Priya, kindly accept your certificate of participation. Please keep your video on till the end of the contest. Thank you. Let us give 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Okay. Now, our second contestant is Toastmaster Ravan Suhaimat. Are you there, Toastmaster Ravan?
Okay.
Yeah. Please confirm that timer 1 and timer 2 screens are visible.
They are, yes.
Okay. Toastmaster Ravan, kindly repeat the statement. Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Feedback is a two-way conversation. Okay?
There was some...
Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Excellent. I confirm that you're audible and visible. Contestant number 2, Toastmaster Ravan Suhaimat. Toastmaster Ravan Suhaimat, contestant number 2.
Contest chair, Toastmaster Vinoy, our dear chief judge, our fellow Toastmasters and lovely guests, a very warm good evening from Amman, Jordan. And of course, a very special good evening to the brave Toastmaster Ambuli. Wow. Ambuli, beauty begins the moment you decide to become yourself. This is what Coco Chanel said, and this is what applies to you. What an extraordinary speech. What a beautiful story you have shared with us, where most of us have lived the moments of ice breaking, of shivering legs, of forgetting words. Wow. I really need to say wow, wow, wow. You are a fine example of a brave and professional Toastmaster. Sometimes, Ambuli, when you are buried in the dark, you are actually not buried. You are actually being planted. And that was your case when you were hiding behind the dark walls. No, when those walls broke down, we had a beautiful plant. We had a beautiful rose that joined Toastmasters. Your introduction with a very beautiful question, with a question that beheld us to think, what's this wall? What's going on in Ambuli? My dear Ambuli, a great story, as I said, and a very great conclusion with acknowledging yourself and with acknowledging and appreciating who you are. Your body language was beautiful and exemplary of a fine Toastmaster. Your vocal variety, you were like on a beautiful, owning the stage from here to there with a crescendo, with a decrescendo. you were just an amazing soprano on the stage. A room for improvement. As we say, perfection is not attainable, but we chase perfection and we catch excellence. I would have liked you to have a little bit of more pauses to give a more effect to the story. Ambuli, I would love to hear more from you. You are an exceptional Toastmaster, and I wish you all the best. Break down all these walls, smash them down, and see you again. Back to you, Toastmaster Vinoy.
Yeah, thank you for this scintillating speech, Toastmaster Robin. So kindly accept your certificate of participation.
Thank you.
Yeah, please keep your video on till the end of the contest.
Sure.
So now, let's continue the story during this second 1 minute silence. Remember, the story is continuing in all the slides. So now let's give 1 minute silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Our next contestant is Toastmaster Jisha Uman. Toastmaster Jisha.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please confirm that timer 1 and timer 2 screens are visible to you.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah, Toastmaster Jisha, kindly repeat the statement. Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Feedback is a two-way conversation.
I confirm that you are audible and visible. Contestant number 3, Toastmaster Jisha Uman. Toastmaster Jisha Uman, contestant number 3.
It's never easy to paint a picture that speaks 1,000 words. So think about a compelling speech that drew innumerable images. And Toastmaster Amburi Roy, remarkable over there. It was indeed an inspiring and entertaining speech. Thank you for that. So moving ahead, let me show the E3 factor of your speech. The first E factor, the engaging factor. Your anecdotes were indeed engaging. From the first scene where you actually encountered a Toastmasters meeting and how you thought of taking up a membership over there. Your journey was indeed a visual presentation from beginning till end. Kudos over there. Moving ahead, I could clearly see how the engagement from anecdote to the dramatic expression has moved on. That was really remarkable. And the entertaining factor that stood out in your speech was the body language, where you specially mentioned how you splashed water on your face because of the anxiety. Fabulous over there. And the great dramatic experience that you showed with your hand movement and the stagecraft was wonderful. When it comes to the excitement, where you mentioned, but hey, I deliver my speech. That was remarkable. I could clearly visualize the excitement. Superb job over there. Well, some of the words that actually stood out in your speech were agitated, panicked, were a good choice of words. So great work over there. when it goes to the empowering, that is the E3 factor, empowering factor, was the message that you gave me, that to break all the wall and move ahead. It can be the expression, it can be any other word, but that is the takeaway message that I got from you. But you can take your speech ahead in a better way. And that is, if you could pace a little bit in a better way, due to the excitement, I could see you were missing your pace in between. So hold it, and that will give more conviction. The next aspect is pausing. There was a scene where you asked many questions to yourself, like a soliloquy. So if you could have added enough pausing between the question, it would have made me to think along with you. The third aspect is, if you could have connected the intro where you asked questions to yourself to the conclusion, how you actually succeeded. Yes, cheers were there, but add that tying up together, it would have been an added package, a complete package of your speech. So in a nutshell, you had a great anecdote, great body language and hand gesture, good choice of words and call for action. Just work with your pace, pause, and connect your intro with your conclusion. Great way to go. Over to the contest chair.
Thank you for the scintillating speech. And everyone, dear all, kindly give a loud applause to her. Yeah. Toastmaster Jisha, kindly accept your certificate of participation. Please keep your video on till the end of the contest. Let us give 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Okay, our next contestant is Toastmaster Devi Narayan.
Good evening, Contest Chair.
Please confirm that timer 1 and timer 2 screens are visible for you.
Yes, they are visible.
Toastmaster Devi, kindly repeat the statement. Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Yeah, I confirm that you're audible and visible. Contestant number 4, Toastmaster Devi Narayan. Toastmaster Devi Narayan, contestant number 4.
Toastmaster Amburi, I raise a toast to you for on that beautiful speech of your breaking the walls of self-doubt. Contest Chair, esteemed judges, fellow Toastmasters, and Toastmaster Amburi in particular, a very warm good evening. We have all been there and experienced those walls of self-doubt even during our Toastmasters journey, and hence your speech was very relatable. Let us analyze your speech. Your speech was a very well-organized and well-crafted speech. It had a clear opening where you mentioned about wise people talk less and tried to add a bit of humor. Then you went on to the body, which was a personal story, and in the end, which was the climax where you raised a toast to yourself. Your speech had a very profound message about breaking the barriers of self-doubt. It was very important as well as very useful, and hence I would commend you on choosing that particular topic. Also, the title of your speech was very apt, and it was not a giveaway to the entire message that you wanted to convey. Your use of language was something that I would like to appreciate. Very well done. You are a master storyteller because using your words, you painted your office pantry, the lunch break, the icebreaker speech, and the audience applauding you. You were very audible, very confident, and your body language was spot on. I love the way you used the virtual stage by moving around and you acted about the walls of self-doubt and breaking them. And like I said, that was a very profound message. You also tried to add a little bit of humor at various instances, and I commend you on that. What are things that you can adopt to make your speech even better? Your speech has several opportunities for dialogues. I would recommend you to add a little bit of dialogues between yourself and your colleague before that speech, or between yourself and a fellow Toastmaster, which would make it more interesting. Also, at the end, I would recommend a clear call to action where you would encourage all of us to break our own barriers of self-doubt, although it was intimidated. Your hands were clutched at some instances, which could have been avoided, as an open body language with more open hands is preferred while delivering a speech. Your voice modulation, well, you were always loud. I would have loved if you had lowered it at several such instances. For example, what if I'm being judged? A little bit of on the work on your facial expressions, your voice modulations, and adding a bit of drama would help too. Especially after my icebreaker, I saw the audience applauding. Such things would make your speech more entertaining and more appealing to the audience. In short, your speech was a very well-crafted speech with beautiful body language usage and beautiful usage of words. You are a master storyteller as well. A little bit focus on the conclusion, but with call to action, your hand gestures and your voice modulation would make it even more better. All the best, Toastmaster Amburi. I'm sure you would do great. Back to you, Contest Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Devi, for the scintillating speech. Now, please accept your participation certificate.
Thank you.
Please keep your video on till the end of the contest. Now let us give 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Shall we go ahead? Okay. Our next contestant is Toastmaster Murikesh Sukumar. Toastmaster Murikesh?
Yes.
Yeah, please confirm that timer 1 and timer 2 screens are visible to you.
Yes, visible.
Okay, Toastmaster Murikesh, kindly repeat the statement. Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Yeah, I confirm that you're audible and visible. So contestant number 5, Toastmaster Murikesh Sukumar. Toastmaster Murikesh Sukumar, contestant number 5.
Thank you. Dear Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters and my dear friends. What a brilliant speech our test speaker delivered today. The war, it was all about her first speech in Toastmasters, overcoming failure, overcoming the inability to stand before a crowd. We all could immediately relate to her. She grabbed the attention in one go. Powerful content delivered with much poise and grace, using very simple language, wonderful body language and voice modulation. Let's give her a big round of applause. Now, let's delve deep into the speech. The topic selection, the message she was trying to give was very simple. Everyone, I'm sure, sitting in this audience has gone through this phase. Let it be the international champion of public speaking, or the novice, or the guest coming first for a Toastmasters meeting. We all have experienced that fear of public speaking, the fear to stand before a crowd. The content was nothing spectacular, but her own story. But it's being said, every speech should have a story. And if that story is your own, that has the greatest impact, can immediately relate to your audience. She narrated her own story in a very simple terms. How she attended the first Toastmasters meeting and how she overcome the wall of fear in front of her with, in fact, a tinge of humor. I'm sure we all have experienced that. We all get a standing ovation. We are so enthralled and thrilled and elated when we get that first round of applause in Toastmasters. And conclusion, saying cheers. It was all over written over her face. If I can do it, you too can. What a way to end the speech. Now, dear Toastmasters, how we can improve this speech? I find every ingredient in the right proportion in the speech. But in between, she could have asked some questions. Have you ever experienced this sort of fear? What was your experience? Even if you don't get an answer, that will engage, that will awaken even the sleeping audience, if at all somebody is there. And second thing is quotes. Quotes are like chocolate chips in an already sweet biscuit. Quotes are so powerful. And quotes on fear of failure is abundant in internet. Example, books written by Susan Jeffers or Billy Lim. They're all quotes on failures and how to overcome failures. Susan Jeffers say, feel the fear and do it. Even if you feel fear, just do it. And that is the first step to overcome failure. So dear Toastmasters, overall, she selected a brilliant topic, delivered with much power and poise in simple and legible language. With a little bit of tweak, she can become a champion speaker. Over to you.
Thank you for the scintillating speech, Toastmaster Murugesh. Dear all, kindly give him a big round of applause. Dear Toastmaster Murugesh, kindly accept the participation certificate.
Thank you so much.
Please keep your video on till the end of the contest.
Okay.
Let us give 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Our next contestant is Toastmaster Agnik Bose. Toastmaster Agnik, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, please confirm that timer 1 and timer 2 screens are visible to you.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Toastmaster Agnic, kindly repeat the statement. Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Yeah, I confirm that you're audible and visible. This is contest number 6, Toastmaster Agnic Bose. Toastmaster Agnic Bose, contestant number 6.
Am I an influencer like Barack Obama or Dalai Lama? Am I an influencer in the face of the world? Yes, indeed, you are in the path. My panel of judges and ladies and gentlemen, today we have witnessed a spectacular self-story about a fighter, a story of a believer, and a story of a Toastmaster. Our speaker today did the best thing any storytelling speaker can do, is to take the topic which is enriched in the hearts of the audience. And she spoke about Toastmasters. Well done, our speaker. I would say that's a bullseye out there. What I loved about today's speaker was her expressions and her hand gesture. I felt like I'm wearing a 3D glasses and she's reaching out to me and making me hear to her story. Beautiful expressions and hand gesture which spoke for itself. And the beautiful part is that key message, the wall, was there throughout her speech, step by step, in terms of negative thoughts. So she did the best thing of ensuring that the key message is there from the beginning to the end. Now, Toastmaster Roy, in my humble opinion, to make your great speech into a thunderous speech, into a perfect speech, is these two things which I'm going to say. My recommendation is that when you're moving around in the stage, ensure that they speak the words you're speaking. For example, there was a moment when you said that I stand up in front of all of you, but what you did is at that time, you stood back. So let the movement speak what you're telling. My second recommendation to you is impactful vocal variety. Now, your vocal variety was great, but there were certain instances where you could have captured the audience to yourself. When you spoke about that, the audience gave you thunderous clap. Let your voice, let the sound echo in the room you are to give that impact of the standing ovation you got. Toastmaster Roy, these are the 5 things which will make your speech great. A great topic, a gripping topic, which captures the audience. Voice expressions, which makes it rich. And your stage usage, which will capture the audience. And the movement, precise movements matter the most. And the last and not the least, the vocal impact. Let your speech, next speech, be as rock solid as this fist. Godspeed, Toastmaster Roy. Godspeed. Over to the contest chair.
Yeah, thank you for this scintillating speech, Toastmaster Agnic. Please, everyone, give him a big hand of applause. Yeah, Toastmaster Agnic, please receive your participation certificate. Please keep your video on till the end of the contest. Let us give 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Shall we go? Okay. Our next contestant is Toastmaster Melanie Miranda. Melanie?
Hello.
Yeah, please confirm that timer 1 and timer 2 screens are visible to you.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, Toastmaster Melanie, kindly repeat the statement. Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Yeah, I confirm that you're audible and visible. Contestant number 7, Toastmaster Melanie Miranda. Toastmaster Melanie Miranda, contestant number 7.
There's nothing quite like your first time. And today, Toastmaster Ambudhi regaled us with a story about her first time, the essence of Toastmasters, the icebreaker speech. Good evening, contest chair, distinguished judges, and fellow Toastmasters. In today's story of this power of expression, Toastmaster Ambudhi used such wonderful tools to express herself. First was the use of language and the really creative use of it. She used phrases like 1,000 butterflies swarmed in my stomach and thunderous applause ignited my public speaking passion, really making the content compelling and engaging personally for me. The second most powerful tool that she used was eye contact, which is very difficult in a virtual stage. And she did this through when she said, reflected in my eyes and came really close to the camera. And she said, again, hopeful eyes. Once again, using this device that you have on the virtual stage and adding a little bit of variation to her delivery. The thing I loved most about Toastmaster Ambudhi's speech, of course, is the enthusiasm in her voice. Her excitement that she conveyed, that excitement and enthusiasm was palpable even through a virtual screen. When she said, greatest of speakers, again, wonderful delivery that helps the audience connect with a speaker. Now, I'll use the words that Dr. Kevin used earlier in the keynote address. Toastmaster Ambudhi, you are 2 feet away from gold, and I have a couple of recommendations to get you to that gold. The first of which, and while you did really well with the louder, emphatic tones, I think you can push the boundaries a little bit more on the softer tones. For example, when you said stretched the entire hour, or you say inspired by their speech, you can use the softer tones to create a little bit more voice modulation. The second, and this is truly a hallmark of champion speeches, is the use of a catchphrase. You use the term the wall really well, but if you had a bit of a catchphrase that you used throughout the speech, for instance, the walls were caving in, and you repeated that at different points in the speech, that really creates allows the theme to resonate a little bit better with the audience. So in summary, in terms of the construction and delivery of your speech, Toastmaster Ambudhi, you truly showed the genius of a champion speaker through the use of powerful language, eye contact, and that enthusiastic voice. Master the softer tone and use a catchphrase as well to enhance your speech. And I'm sure that you will shatter those walls and soar to greater heights. Contest chair.
Thank you for this scintillating speech, Toastmaster Melanie. Kindly give her a big round of applause. Toastmaster Melanie, please accept your participation certificate. Please keep your video on till the end of the contest. Let's give 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Okay. Yeah, our next contestant is Toastmaster Shalini Botello. Toastmaster Shalini, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, please confirm that timer 1 and timer 2 screens are visible to you.
Yes, both are visible.
Yeah, Toastmaster Shalini, kindly repeat the statement. Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Feedback is a two-way conversation.
Yeah, I confirm that you are audible and visible. Contestant number 8, Toastmaster Shalini Botello. Toastmaster Shalini Botello, contestant number 8.
The war, the fear of public speaking, and the battle that was finally won. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and Toastmaster Amboli Roy in particular. What an uplifting speech that you delivered. You floated a very important message with the right topic and for the right audience that we could all relate to. What I loved about your speech was it was very well structured. The opening that started with a thought-provoking question, why people talk less? Have you heard it? The body, where you had difficulty in expressing, and your trembling knees and butterflies in your stomach, and the conclusion, where you finally won. The standing ovation, which was a surprise for you. Well, I just loved the way it all came together. The opening, the body, and the conclusion reinforced the purpose. What I loved also was it was your personal story. Something that you experienced gives you more credibility. Toastmasters, didn't Toastmaster Amboli speak right from her heart? And that's the way to connect. What I also loved, and the thing that stood out most, was your gestures. When you fainted, when you came close to the camera and with hopeful eyes. The three things, the amazing things that happened. 1, 2, 3. I love those gestures. In all, the energy level, the gestures, the pacing, the rate, the voice, the body language was phenomenal. Now, how can we make this an even powerful speech? I noticed that your facial expressions were sometimes not consistent with the information or feeling that you were talking about. For example, when you said pretty confident, but you had a frown, the audience will get fizzled out and will be confused. You also said without any fear of judgment. Again, there was a frown. Without any fear, be confident. The second thing which I noticed was you had your hands clasped. Just leave them to your sides. Relax. And Toastmaster Amboli, you are performing on a virtual platform. When you said these words and you stretched out your hands, that was a time your hands were completely cut off. You said your help, your hands. The next thing was the monotonous tone, the dialogue. I also preferred a sprinkle of humor that would add flavor to your speech. And finally, the conclusion. What that should have been with a bang, a sense of depth in your speech. For example, when you said the cheers, when you had the standing ovation. In all, make sure you leave your final sentence with power, polish, professionalism, and positive tone. To summarize, keep up on your personal story, your gestures, and if you could only work on your hands being claps on virtual platform and conclusion, you will be a shining star in your Toastmaster journey. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Shalini, Toastmaster Shalini, for the scintillating speech. Kindly accept the participation certificate. Please keep your video on till the end of the contest. Let us give 1 minute of silence for the judges.
3 minutes. All the
Let's have
speeches
3
are over.
minutes of silence for the judges to mark their ballots and finalize the results.
So, Master, can you move me and the tally counters to the breakout room, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, please give our contestants a round of applause. This concludes the evaluation speech contest, and I hereby adjourn the District 105 DTAC 2023 Speech Evaluation Contest Semi-Final Group B. The results will be announced shortly. I request all the contestants to be present at the time with the same screen name as now, and I keep their videos on. Toastmasters and guests, thanks a lot for your support. Over to you, Toastmaster Saji Joseph, our Master of Ceremony.
Thank you, Contest Chair, Toastmaster Vinod Kumar. Toastmasters and friends, we have just now witnessed a stupendous evaluation contest. It is from here the transformation of a speaker begins. The improvement begins. Now, I request Toastmaster Vinesh Matthew to get the role player's certificate ready. What a scintillating performance that was. Yes, the certificate is awarded to Toastmaster Neil for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a Zoom master. Give him a round of applause. Toastmaster Soja, this certificate is awarded for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a Zoom master. Give her a big round of applause. Toastmaster Shireen for supporting 105 DTAC 2023 as Zoom master. Give a big round of applause. Toastmaster Rohit Keshri, this certificate of appreciation for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a timer. Give him a very big round of applause. Toastmaster Abdul Aziz for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a timer. Give him a big round of applause. Toastmaster Datta Navle for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a timer. Give him a big round of applause. Toastmaster Chetan Shah for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a Chief Surgeon at Arms. Give him a huge round of applause. Toastmaster Miraj Unisa for supporting 105 DTAC 2023 as a Surgeon at Arms. Give her a big round of applause. Certificate of appreciation to DTM Sachin Thakur for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a Surgeon at Arms. Give him a huge round of applause. Certificate of appreciation awarded to Toastmaster Saji Joseph for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a Master of Ceremony. That is me. Give me a huge round of applause. All of us are aware when and how real progress happens. As only when every individual of a nation or a community or society certificate of appreciation award goes to Toastmaster Vinod Kumar for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as the contest chair. Give him a huge round of applause. Certificate of appreciation is awarded to DTM Tom Syriac for supporting District 105 DTAC 2023 as a Chief Judge. Give him a huge round of applause. Yes. All of us are aware when and how the real progress happens. It's only when every individual of a nation or a community or a society or an organization or a team shows the improvement in a task that they are assigned to or in a performance point of view. Let me remind you that we are in the centenary year of Toastmasters International, since Ralph J. Smedley has begun all this in the year 1924. Let us introspectively look into those lines of Dr. Ralph. Whatever your grade or position, if you know how and when to speak and when to remain silent, our chances of real success are proportionately increasing. Toastmasters are educators. Whether we realize it or not, Toastmasters are more than a club. It is an education. When we talk, we give ourselves away. We reveal our true character in a picture which is more true and more realistic than any artist can do for us. Let's be the inspiration and instruments others during our challenging times, probably by doing deeds that are simple but easy to understand. We have realized that unless we change the way we look at things and put exemplary effort, propelling progress is impossible. Therefore, we need to do it for the sake of attracting many more to add to the Toastmasters fraternity, to be a place where better choices can be made. A lot more leaders and speakers are fostered and made throughout. Indeed, millions of leaders are in demand. Now sit back and relax as I call upon Contest Chair, Toastmaster Vinod Kumar of Evaluation Speech Contest 2P Finals to announce the results. Toastmaster Vinod Kumar, over to you.
Just a minute, because I'm just typing in the names.
No problem at all. Take your time.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy to say that we are on time.
That's...
What a fantabulous job our organizers have done it.
Okay, Toastmaster Saji Joseph, I'm ready, sir. So,
all right, go ahead.
Shall I share the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the
There's
most...
no disqualification. I just thought
Yeah, there is no time disqualification for our contest. So that's a good news to everyone. And I know that all are eagerly waiting for the results to be announced. So I don't want to trouble them, just leave them in that status. So here we go. I'm going to announce the qualifiers details here. Please let me share the screen to know who are qualified. See, all our winners, all did really well. So we all know that. So just announcing the qualifiers this time. So here we go. So these are the qualifiers for the finals. Toastmaster Agnik Bose, Toastmaster Shalini Botello, and Toastmaster Devi Narayan. There is no room for disappointment as everyone performed well. So that's it.
We congratulate all the winners and participants. We are also extremely grateful to all contest officials, dignitaries, and guests present. With this, we come to the end of District 105 DTAC 2023, Day 4. Please mark your calendar. It's May 27th, 2023, day 5. (9:30 a.m., the final day of DTAC 2023 annual speech contest. That is tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in, as this would be a day packed with events. Starting from district officers' installations and banner march, followed by a mind-blowing keynote speech on innovation, creativity, and collaboration, the main 3 keys to propelling progress, by none other than Udly co-founder, Mr. Varun Puri, and then the finals, the evaluation speech contest finals, the table topic contest finals, and humorous speech contest finals. Until then, let us keep propelling ourselves with progress. Goodbye, stay safe. Signing off now is your MC, Toastmaster Saji Joseph. Thank you.